This is weird with the good lighting.
Hey, you look good. I'd do you
Would you now?
from
We got to talk.
behind,
We got to end the broadcast and we got to talk.
but not because I don't want to look at your face. I just like it that way.
Okay, that's fine. As long as it's like we'd have to have some ground rules and we definitely have to have a safe word. Oh, we're live. All
Oh,
right.
whoops!
Um. Well,
Don't talk about how we're late. Just pretend we're not.
we're
Do
not
it.
late. Like, man, I was
Nobody
like
cares.
ahead. I even had everything prepared and everything. Well, nobody's even in the chat, so it doesn't matter. But
Hey,
people could be saying this later. I don't think you can join the chat before we go live, but
okay,
anyway,
great. Whatever. Here we are.
hold on one sec. All right. Welcome to Better Talk Saul. I'm your host, Dylan Schuck.
And
Wait,
I'm
let me
Dan
redo that.
Fields.
Let me redo
Okay.
that. Welcome to Better Talk Saul. I'm Dylan Schuck.
And I'm Dan Fields.
In this podcast, we're discussing the 5th episode of the final season of the AMC original series, Better Call Saul. You are listening to Better Talk Saul. In this podcast, we're not going to pretend that Breaking Bad doesn't exist, so tread lightly if you are concerned about that show's spoilers. There it is. Here we are. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah. Good. I'm doing a rewatch of Breaking Bad with my son, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm only on season 1, episode 3, but boy, that show starts off with a bang. You forget how essentially the first episode it's intense already. So
Oh,
I'm
the
really
first
enjoying
episode
that.
is one of my favorite pilots of any show ever.
Oh yeah, hands down. So I'm doing great. How are you?
I just put my hand down. You told me hands down, so I did it.
Oh, good.
I'm doing stupendous.
Good.
I don't know if the mic sounds a little weird, but
You
working
sound
through some
great.
technical difficulty. I know Dan doesn't want me to talk about that kind of stuff, but I feel like I had some explaining to do. But yeah, let's get into this episode because we don't want to um, waste too much time of you guys'
Yeah.
precious times.
Yeah.
But
Let's do it.
first, we have to say, first right off the bat, Dan and I both agree. If you're not voting for John for council already, what are you doing?
Is he still writing us in?
I don't think you're in this week, but
Oh
I
well,
mean,
don't
what
vote
are we
for
even
him.
here for, guys? If we're not here to vote for John for council, like that is the most important priority. We don't know his politics once again, but just make sure to take care of that. He's in Fairbanks, some state.
Alaska?
No, not Fairbanks. We said what it is. Now because I'm a completionist, I'm gonna find out. But yeah, just remember John for council. That's the important part. Sponsored by
Yeah.
John for council. When you said last week, do we even know his politics? It really made me laugh because I'm like, yeah, no, we really don't.
Yeah,
But I'm sure
man.
they're good. I mean, he's a fan of the show. You know, he has to be. Oh no, not Fairbanks, Frederick County. So Frederick County. He's
Yeah.
wherever. I don't know what state it is. Oh, Maryland. Okay, Maryland. All right. So for our listener in Maryland, make sure to consider that. All right, let's get into this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, shout out to Karen. I really enjoyed having her on the show last week. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, we'll have her on more often too. She's a great guest, and I recorded so many podcasts with her. I've probably recorded more with her than I have with you. Actually, I definitely have.
Oh wow. Well, then maybe we shouldn't have
And
her on again.
and we've yeah, I mean if we're gonna keep score, because you're trying to catch up. But anyway, I'm not the biggest fan of this episode.
Yeah. I feel like it's the part of the season where there's a little more bits of build up time. So, it's build up time.
I'll just tell you right now, I'm not a fan of all of the characters in the show being farther along than we are. Like everyone's ahead of us. We've been playing like if you do that for an episode, 2 episodes, that's fine. But now 5 episodes in, and we're still way behind them on their plan. I just
Yeah.
don't. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in the Gus plot line, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There's no stakes in it. We know that he's not. He's gonna win over Lalo. So
Right. Yeah,
I
it's tough.
mean, it's just I don't even know what I really loved about this episode. I know what I loved in this episode. The Lalo storyline, and
Yeah.
it was short, and that was tense though. Like my God,
Oh yeah. With Marguerite, who's a fox.
she
My
is
God.
10
Whew.
out of 10. Oh man, I was like 100%. I could understand why this guy risked his life to get out to go somewhere.
Yeah,
And go, he just wanted one weekend, one smash sesh, and it like makes sense now. It all makes sense because I
yeah,
thought Lalo. I mean, I was almost rooting for Lalo on that one. I was in a weird way.
yeah. No, and that whole scene too, where it's such like a fantasy to be at a bar, meet somebody like that. Not like at a bar like a freaking sports bar, but like a beautiful bar. You're fancy, you're traveling.
Like
He's
Hooters.
German.
You're saying like at
Yeah,
Hooters.
I'm saying like not at Hooters, but at like a nicer establishment. That whole scene, and the cool thing too is they shot that in Albuquerque, so I just kept thinking to myself too, like they did a really good job with like her house is feeling German in her neighborhood. The set people on that show are great.
So the beginning scene, the teaser of this episode, it really is kind of callbacks to when they making meth. I actually thought they were making meth at one point. I was like, oh, this is before the blue meth, so it's clear.
Yeah.
Did you think they were making meth? You had to have, right?
I did, but I was a little annoyed to be honest. I feel like do we have to start every episode with some sort of like mysterious, I'm not really sure what's happening, montagey thing? I feel like they do this every week now. Like switch it up, guys, a little bit.
Yeah, Breaking Bad didn't do that. Breaking Bad would it did it sometimes. It did it a couple, couple. I can name a couple
Yeah,
times, but
sure.
like the tarantula, Drew Sharp's tarantula. Episode started with seeing a tarantula crawling
Yeah,
across the screen, and then at the end of the episode, you found out that it was because of Drew Sharp when he got killed.
right.
So, but they're doing it too
Maybe a
much,
little bit. I know it's a cold
and
open, but
it's
still.
like, oh, look at this item. This item is going to come into play in the final scene of the episode,
Yeah,
and it's like what Breaking Bad did a lot was show the characters in a situation that's in the end of the episode that you're like, whoa, how could they get there? Especially just in one episode.
right.
Like I remember in the first season, there's an episode that starts off and there's a car alarm going off and there's smoke everywhere, and you like it shows somebody walking up in footsteps and the camera pans up and it's Walt and he's walking out of a building that has exploded with a bag of money and his head is shaved. We hadn't seen his head shaved
Mm,
yet.
right.
So
You're
we were
like,
like, oh
what?
man, that's in like 5 seasons when that's going to happen. But it happened by the
Right.
end of that episode.
It's like
It's
a
just like,
reverse spoiler of sorts.
right. Just like you just saw the pilot of Breaking Bad. Beginning, it shows him with a gun pointed at the,
Right.
you
No
know,
pants on.
with no pants on, being like, how did he get himself in this dilly of a pickle that he's going to now die because he has to have a shootout with the police?
Yeah.
And dilly of a pickle, as the kids say.
Yeah, no, the kids love that phrase. Love it.
They're always saying it. I'm so sick of hearing the kids say it on the Tic Tacs. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're redoing this. Look at this item.
Yeah.
Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
Wow. That's
Um,
Little Mermaid.
you're
Love
right.
it. Jesus.
But also that we have no idea, no way of guessing what it is or what importance it's going
No,
to have,
mysterious. It's in German, so we figured it had something to do with Vanna, but that was it.
or Madrigal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in the phrase in there, in Liebe DNA Jungs, I don't know, I'm pronouncing that wrong. For our German listeners, please correct us in the comments. It's love your boys in
Oh,
German. And it's placed
yeah.
inside a
Okay.
wooden box. And you could tell that there was a lot of money put into this because it was being hand polished and all that kind of stuff, right? So you could tell
Yeah.
it was an important thing. It wasn't just a gift shop item.
That's interesting. Obviously, it's a gift from the guys
From
who
the
know
boys. From the
who,
boys, not the guys.
the boys who know how he was killed and died, and they knew what they were doing in there, and so it adds, I think, to the allure that which Marguerite says that none of them came to the funeral because
Ooh,
they were
Marguerite.
guilty.
Marguerite. Oof.
True that. They were guilty, or maybe that they were worried about something happening, or maybe they're dead too. Like, do we think all of every person, Kai and all them, know? That
No.
they got knocked off?
No. We saw them getting released into the wild in season 5.
Oh, you're right. Mike very meticulously.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
He was
right.
like, you're going to take this, you're going to drive to Denver and take this plane. You're going to drive to fucking South Kentucky. and the other dude is going to drive to Frederick County Council
Oh
District
my
number 4
God.
to go
Wow.
vote for John for council.
Wow.
I
Kaiser Soze.
I hope John for council enjoys these shout outs. Also before we get to the episode, I do want to say, guys, we're streaming live
Yeah.
on YouTube. Now we're not
Yeah.
always going right on time like we did in this week, and Dan wants to talk about that. Would you like to discuss that, Dan?
No, I specifically said let's not say on the podcast that we're late because people who don't watch it won't give a shit that we were late.
But we stream them live every week.
Yeah.
If you follow us on Twitter at BetterTalkSaul, we tweet out when we're going to go live, and you can join the conversation. There's a couple people in the chat, and then if we get a certain, if you go there and just give us a follow, click on the link for YouTube and give us a follow. When we get a certain amount, we can get a URL. Because right now I don't have a URL, so just go subscribe.
And then we'll have Vince Gilligan. I heard if enough people subscribe to our podcast,
he said 100 subscriptions for them. And then he'll come. Yeah, and shout outs to Shakita who waited through for all that waiting. To be honest.
I don't even know what I would say to Vince Gilligan. It's been so long.
Yeah, you know what I'd say?
Bravo.
I'd say bravo, Vince.
I'm sure he loves that.
Yeah,
sure he loves that.
He probably hears it from like his entire family. All right, so in the episode, we're using the Breaking Bad wiki to kind of guide us to the episode. Shout out to the Breaking Bad wiki. If you're not using the Breaking Bad wiki, you're crazy, dude. Like, you guys are nuts out there. Also, just like last week, this is directed and written by female director and writer. So I find that they have some badass chicks that write for the show, like Jennifer Hutchison, who's not involved in this one. She wrote I'm the One Who Knocks. There's another really big one. I think it's I'm in the Empire Business. That episode. She's written some of the best, and a lot of people would assume that was written by a guy because you know what? Because they're sexist. That's why. Don't assume, guys. Don't assume. When you assume, it makes an ass out of you and me.
There's not much that women don't do better, and that's not some bullshit or some lip service. There's truly not.
Except for pure strength, right, Dan? Is that what you're saying?
Who cares about that?
Directed by Melissa Bernstein and written by Allison Tatlock. In the wee hours of the morning, Kim finds herself unable to sleep because of the news about Lalo. I have something I thought of while watching this episode. I should probably leave this for my prediction of the week, but whatever. I already brought it up.
Yeah.
I think that she's never going to tell Jimmy.
I think she will at some point, and it's going to tear them apart because he's going to feel betrayed.
Actually, no, I want to amend that. I think she does tell Jimmy. No, she does tell Jimmy, but Jimmy doesn't find out whatever happens to Lalo. So whatever the fate of Lalo, whatever becomes of him, Jimmy's not going to find out. And I say that because of the scene when he says, Lalo didn't send you. Right. In Breaking Bad's happening, Jimmy thinks that Lalo could still be alive.
He lives in Germany and he's married to Marguerite.
Oh, man, that would be the best ending for both of them, to be quite honest.
I would love to see the two of them. It's like, what's that movie with Diane Lane where she bangs that like has an affair with like a really hot Hispanic man? It's like in the 90s. It was like so hot, man. That movie messed me up. Help me out. Google this shit while I filibust. Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. By the way, Diane Lane, big fan of Diane Lane.
Dude, this movie, if you haven't seen it, you're going to watch it tonight and pleasure yourself to this movie.
Are you talking about Under the Tuscan Sun?
No.
Or Unfaithful?
Like Unfaithful. Man, that movie messed me up.
With Richard Gere? Was that the one you're talking about?
Yes, with Richard Gere, who plays like her idiot husband. It's like one of those 90s sexy ass movies, man. Or maybe it's 2002. Whatever.
So Unfaithful. She was nominated for a Golden Globe. Globe for Unfaithful, nominated for Best Actress in a Motion Picture.
Stunning in it. Absolute smoke show. Anyhow, that's Marguerite.
Yeah, that movie features Richard Gere, and we should just kind of talk about that.
Yeah, Richard Gere sucks. All right.
Richard Gere. Why does Richard Gere suck?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
what
does he do?
What does he do? Oh,
yeah. Pretty Woman?
No, I was
Runaway
thinking of
Bride?
Richard Gere. I was thinking of the guy who was banged Madonna. He was in Dick Tracy. Who's that idiot?
Warren Beatty?
Warren Beatty. Yeah, that guy. He's a weirdo.
So you just confused Warren Beatty with Richard Gere out of nowhere, or
They're
Warren
kind of the
Beatty's in
same
the
guy.
movie that you're talking? All right. So
Let's move on.
in the next scene, Jimmy's also sleeping, but he thinks Lalo's dead, and he's still also not being able to sleep.
Yeah.
And we see like the scene of her putting this chair up against the door.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What's that going to
fine.
do? I did see a good
It will do
observation on
nothing. It
Reddit.
really does nothing.
I saw a good observation that it was like 3:15 or something, and in the reflection of the mirror, it said lie. Like LIE was what that numerical number looked like when she was talking to Jimmy, and like a fun little aside there.
I pretty much guaranteed that is a coincidence.
It felt a little on the nose, but I still like to see it.
Yeah. Did you see the image?
I saw a screen cap of it.
Okay, and it did say lie straight up.
Yeah, because if you think about it, 3, 1. What would the L be?
1.
11.
Oh,
1.
another 1.
Yeah,
Have to be
something like that.
311. So lie, because otherwise it'd have to be a 7 upside down. Man, we are. I feel like we're not making the best content so far.
Let's focus here.
Later that morning, Gus is filling out paperwork in his office, and he's continuous on the edge. You know. I don't know if this episode like showed it that much, but I get the littlest hint that Gus is on edge in general. Do you get that feeling from the show right now?
I know. Yeah, it's crazy that they're making it seem like he might be slightly nervous.
Yeah, he was talking to. He went up to talk to a customer. I would be happy to help you. And then he talks about his spicy
It's a great
curls.
shot, by the way. That shot where it was like in his office, one single shot through the restaurant. Love that.
And you see this like how he just like is a straight up actor.
Yeah. Focusing on his gun constantly, which is what a nervous person would do.
Oh, shout outs to Karen Peterson in the chat, by the way. She was helping you out with Unfaithful. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh man. Karen's listening live now? Now I really got to be smart.
Now I'm really getting nervous. We can't mess up in front of Karen. We got to really focus.
No,
all right.
I got to be insightful now.
So, at the and then something about the spicy curls.
Yeah, that flew way over my head. I did not realize that he heard that spice curls, and that made him think Germany, and that he was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I saw
Lalo's
people talking about that. I don't know if that's. I mean, I think the people, like the collective, kind of made that maybe that's correct. I don't know. I took that also as like you're just spacing out and not paying attention to the guy. But
let's clarify that.
Yeah,
let's clarify that. You think, like I did, that he was having I thought he was like having an anxiety attack, that he was like really freaking out, and people on the internet said, "Hey, actually, he went to a board meeting at Madrigal in Germany when he unveiled Spice Curls, which was his like new spicy fry." And a lot of people on the internet are saying when he said the word Spice Curls, because he's obsessed with thinking about Lalo, that he put 2 and 2 together, that Lalo is actually in Germany. That's what people on the internet think.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
But because I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if the Spice Girls is what made him think of it. That seemed like a stretch when I saw people, but people are kind of going on like that's fact. So I guess I don't know.
We'll find out.
I guess we will. We get this. But in general, he is.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Another reason why I think maybe they are right is because he then goes into the lab and puts the gun in the tread of the digger, which I feel like is him saying, I feel like it's gonna be a showdown here or something. Like, why put a gun in a place like that? So I think
why? Because he has a plan that we as viewers don't fucking know about, just like every character on the show right now in the season.
Yeah, it's annoying. I hear you. I agree.
I just want to know about one person's plan. We're just behind everybody's plans right now, and if it's happening with one character, that's fine. But it's happening with all characters. To me, this is just being it's a little grating to me. Obviously, I'm
Yeah,
trying to be. I enjoy these episodes. So this isn't even
I know.
me like really
No,
complaining,
sure.
but it's also like making me not connected to the story, and I feel like
Yeah,
I don't want to feel like they're wasted episodes. Now, if we were just binging this, we're not doing a podcast of it, I
yeah,
don't think we would be complaining as much. But you guys got to realize when we're going through scene by scene, we're going to talk
right.
about things that, and also in hindsight, we could be wrong. Like in hindsight, it may all pay off in a big
They
way,
will.
and I will be like, I am wrong.
It'll pay off, and you'll get your wish. The next 6 episodes will be about Gene and Howard, and you'll finally get your comeuppance.
What if?
Or I
Hear
will.
me out. What if that's a spinoff, Gene and Howard?
I would not want that.
What?
No, I would.
Do you think that Howard
Boxing.
is going to be given a solid death?
Howard's not gonna die. I don't think Howard's gonna die. You think he's gonna die? You really do?
So if you don't think he'll be given a solid death, what's the opposite of a solid death?
I think because they allude to something bad happening. That's what I do. Where when Kim says like, "Why would you fight him?" And
Dan, what's the opposite of a solid death?
oh my God, you bastard!
I'll tell you what it is. It's a liquid
death.
death. Shout out to Liquid
You
Death,
are
a sponsor of the podcast.
out of your mind.
Our favorite water you could possibly have. Murder your thirst with Liquid Death. Shout out to Howard and Gene, the upcoming spinoff series.
Oh, I love it. That was great. I walked right into that, man.
Yeah, you did. You
Walked
fell right into
it.
that one. Not gonna say I planned that, but it was nice.
It was good.
That
was good.
We are actually not sponsored by Liquid Death before we get taken off YouTube or anything
I don't
like that.
think they'll care.
But it's a funny joke. I think it's a funny joke to say that we're sponsored by it. By the way, use promo code BetterTalkSaul for 15% off your first purchase at any convenience store where Liquid Death is sold. So a hilarious scene because they just can't. I love one thing I do really love about the show is they don't let little characters go, especially like characters with some spunk. And
the secretary, you mean?
Yeah. So Aaron trying to talk everybody out of being upset about Sandpiper Crossing. And I love when Howard jumps in and he goes, "Oh, these youth these days, I love to see them get involved, but now it's our turn to talk," or something like that. So condescending. And also, remember, she doesn't work for Howard; she works for Cliff. So that's pretty funny too. That he's like, it's not his employee, and he also said an extremely rude and condescending thing to him. So it's at least good to remind us that he's still a dick.
Yeah. It's
because
hard
the show is not reminding us of that.
Not right now. No, we're supposed to feel bad for Howard right now. And look, I don't know if he's. I think a little bit. I think we're supposed to think that Kim and Jimmy are going to ruin his life. They're not just going to get Sandpiper settled. They're going to absolutely destroy him. And I thought it was impressive the way he kind of like went in there with that bluster. She was losing the crowd, and he came in and completely turned it around. Jerry Maguire style.
Jimmy
and got him back. I will say this: I know you don't watch Mythic Quest, but the Aaron girl, is so funny and weird in that show that it's almost hard for me to see her in this one. So if anyone else is out there, I'm sure that watches that show, they'll film me on that one.
I am I'm like wondering what we're supposed to be thinking about Howard. Like, I don't really know what the general what the audience thinks of Howard. Like, do the audience? I feel like the show is carrying on like we're supposed to not like him.
I think he's one of the only normal characters on the show who's just doing his job. He's got no ulterior motives. He's just a lawyer trying to make money, and he's just doing his thing. He's not sleazy. He's not working with the cartel. He's not trying to take anyone down. And I'm glad he got to kick Jimmy's ass, at least right now, because I do feel like he's going to get shattered here coming up in a bad way.
Turns out you're not alone on Mythic Quest. I have no idea what it is, but it looks like you're not alone.
Yeah, it's great. It's on Apple TV. Watch it.
So, there's this scene where Cliff confronts Howard over that. I don't want to be negative here, guys, but I feel like this was a less of a funny payoff than it should have been. For them just
Uh,
to have this conversation and Cliff, his son had an addiction, so that's why he doesn't believe Howard.
which
It
is a
makes it
great little point, by the way. The fact that they weave that in, that his son is an addict, really kind of hit that home. That
right.
he thinks he's lying.
It
That
just
was
makes it
masterful.
not funny, and fair enough, it may not be funny, but man, this is a really good situation to be really funny, and because they've kind of been playing the situation like it's funny. Everything with Howard and the drugs and
Yeah,
the prostitutes, they've been played
sure.
like it's funny, and the payoff. I guess the journey was the destination, not the
Yeah.
destination being the destination.
Yeah, no, he was
Um,
concerned. Like he was like, "Hey, man," and Howard even said, "Like I know it took a lot for you to come tell me this and bring me this. Thank you as a friend." He was concerned, and maybe even less about Sandpiper and all that. Like Cliff isn't even really thinking about that. I think he's worried about his friend.
Karen Peterson in the chat, I completely agree with her. I think Howard figuring out that Jimmy is messing with him is part of the plan. I think that is like for sure,
So
basically.
you
I think
guys
that's like for
think
sure.
they wanted Howard to think that they were
Yeah.
messing with him?
Because she even said, like, Kim said something like,
You know what's happening
because you know
next?
what's going to happen.
You know
It
what's
doesn't
coming
seem
up?
like him knowing about it or figuring it out deterred them or seemed to even be a setback.
Right, right. Yeah, no, you're right. And
Um,
yeah,
and then yeah, we'll get to what he says to the private investigator, but he's basically like, oh, I have a Jimmy problem, and we as viewers are like, who's Jimmy?
right. I know. Yeah,
We have no idea what he's talking about. Turns out Jimmy was the original name of the character Saul on the show, so I think a lot of
big
people probably
reveal. That
missed
was a
that.
big
Right? I
reveal.
think a lot of people missed that part. But yeah, let's just kind of get through that whole storyline. We'll kind of skip ahead, and then they go. He calls him to a boxing ring, and
Yeah,
his name is Mr. Ward, H.O. Ward.
yeah,
Um, here's one thing I do want to actually go back on.
yeah.
Why do you think, and chime in the chat if you have an opinion on this, why do you think it was important to show that Howard still got it as a lawyer? Like, they took time to show that.
Mm,
And I wonder, like, what was that purpose? Like, so we can are we reminded that he's like that he's capable at his job, and he's kind of considered one of the best in it, or something like that. Like, I'm curious on why they spent time on that, because there's no accidents, right? That's for a reason.
yeah,
Obviously, not that I don't think the reason's been seen yet, but I think when you start paying attention and thinking like that, that's when you can make really good predictions. And I'm curious what people think. Um, I don't know. They spent a lot of time on it, right? That was a whole
yeah.
scene. Like, they went all and filmed all of those people together in there to show that scene. That seemed to be mainly the payoff, or it could have just been to show him being condescending to Aaron.
No, yeah, you bring up a good point. I'm not sure why. I mean, he is a good lawyer, clearly. I don't think it will. I think we will probably see some courtroom hijinks, maybe. Like, will there be like another courtroom scene where it's Kim versus him and they're closing arguments? And, like, this is a show about lawyers, and we kind of haven't had one of those since um, Chuck, when Jimmy and him were like going toe to toe. So yeah, I don't know. And I think it was probably to set up him and Cliff having that conversation too, maybe more than anything.
Um, Karen in the chat chimes in. We should have just had Karen on.
Yeah, probably.
Probably gonna have you back next week, Karen. What do you say? At this point, she says in the chat. At this point, he doesn't realize anything is off. It's just showing he's just business as usual.
Yeah, probably too.
Um,
I read something interesting though about the boxing scene where, remember, at this point, like in his life, Bob Odenkirk had just filmed Nobody, the action movie that he was a star in. So he was in great shape. Like, he
oh
has been
yeah,
boxing, he's been fighting, and so they had to kind of like dummy him down. Like, it was, I think, difficult probably for him to not kick Howard's ass like in real life. Like, he had to act like he wasn't a good boxer, and I don't know. I mean, people probably like that scene. To me, it was kind of silly and cute, and it
I
kind
was
of felt
wondering
like
during that scene. I was wondering if that's the scene he had a heart attack in.
I don't think so because I think he said that Kim was around, right,
Oh
when
yeah.
he had his heart attack. But I know I wouldn't have been surprised. But it it felt a little bit to me like the final season of a show where they kind of let people like have their senioritis moment that we kind of talked about last week. Like it was cool and all, but felt a little self-indulgent maybe to have this long boxing scene, which was cool, but yeah, I
Well,
dragged on a
also,
little.
I think that the purpose of this was to re-engage Jimmy's resolve.
Yeah.
Because now he's going to be upset that he did it. Unless that was just a scene. I don't know. It wouldn't make sense if that was a bullshit scene because they were having it in private.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
important to think about when people are saying things. If you're skeptical of its, if it's a misdirection, is it who's around in the room? And it's just him and Kim. So I don't think they're bullshitting each other. So
Yeah.
I
No.
think that he really was upset that he had let Howard bait him.
Right. He should have just left. But yeah, I think he maybe feels a little guilty. Like I think Jimmy still doesn't want to destroy Howard. Like he just doesn't. And maybe letting him beat him up a little bit. And I don't think he let him beat him up. I think Jimmy getting in there knew Howard was going to win. Maybe he needed to punish himself that way because he
I still
feels
think he
guilty.
wanted to punch him though. I think he did want to get some punches off, and he was like,
Oh, and he did. Yeah, sure.
um, Shakita in the chat brings a good point. He said that to cancel his whole week, he canceled his whole week, all his whole week of work. Perhaps
That's a
that was the
lot.
purpose of that scene to show that he is a working man. He's in the middle of a lot of stuff, and he set it all down to kind of even the score. And also, that he hired a private detective. The first thing you saw him hiring that private detective, what did you think? Who's the
That
person you thought of?
I thought of Mike.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was
and
like,
that
oh, so
he's
Mike
gonna
will easily figure this person out immediately.
yes, he's gonna get in over his head, and the private detective's gonna be like, you know what? He's getting tailed by other people, or look at these shenanigans he's doing, and maybe Howard does get killed. Maybe Howard sees something about Gus,
Maybe
and
Howard has to go into witness protection, and he ends up in Nebraska in the working
maybe,
in a mall.
maybe at Claire's for sure.
Claire's in a mall as a manager. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. The spin-off
Oh,
series will just be
I'd
them
watch that.
their hijinks.
Of
It's
him
like
just like punching like 8-year-olds little ears. You know how they have that like gun that
right.
shoots their earrings? I'd watch that.
It would be hijinks like them pulling pranks on each other to like really foil each
Yeah.
other. It was going to be very Dwight and Jim from The Office.
Oh yeah.
I think that's really what's gonna come down to. But
Mhm.
I'm what if also the private eye, while staking them out, Mike's also staking them out, and what if they all kind of, spend time together and they get to know each other and they become friends?
That's not gonna happen.
Okay. All right. Well, you're shooting that down, but I'm thinking outside the box. Okay. So Francesca, I'm happy to
Yeah.
have her back. It was weird how they had her weaving in and out of the show the way it did,
Yeah, the
because it's
paralegal or the whatever she is.
yeah, the assistant.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't. It's always interesting when you're watching a prequel is when characters are weaving in and out. You're like, are they finally in? Are they finally in? Are they going to get?
Yeah.
And then they're gone again, and you're like, oh, okay. There's going to be more to that. And this is how
Yeah.
this is how the Star Wars prequels kind of trained our brains because they're waiting for it to all catch up. And
Yeah.
this is another. This and Star Wars the main like prequels for me. I know people are big on the Hobbit and Fantastic Beasts prequel, the Harry Potter prequels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
those suck.
Yeah, I'm not big on
It's not
either
the
of
same.
those. So,
But
but
she's in it now. I mean, she's now in it for the next what, 6 years of his life, or
no, I
like
think it's I think we're like I think it's like 2 years or something like that, or it could be I don't know at
Yeah,
this
maybe
point,
you're right.
because there was
Yeah.
a big time jump at one point also when he lost his law degree, like, or his law degree. He lost his degree. They
Right.
stripped him of his degree, and he had to
His license. Yeah.
re-earn that.
Another fun fact about that area, like the place they shoot Saul's office is the same one they shot Breaking Bad. And you may say to yourself, hey, has this just been vacant? No, it's not. Like after they shot it, it turned into a sports bar, went out of business, and then they were able to get it back. They had to rip all the sports bar shit out to make it look like Saul's corner of that strip mall again. So I bet at one point, Saul's office was a sports bar, which I think would have been pretty fun if you like live in Albuquerque and you could go to that. It probably didn't survive COVID, I'm guessing, and now it's again Saul's corner
You know what's funny?
thing.
Growing up in LA,
Yeah,
you have places that are filmed in TV and movies all over the place, and nobody cares at all. Nobody, it's like not a big thing at all,
right.
because it's just so many. Like everything from The Office is in within I don't know, like 10 miles from where I grew up and all that kind of stuff, and I
Yeah,
never visited it, and it's not a big thing. But in
yeah.
Albuquerque, all the Breaking Bad locations apparently
Oh,
are
it's a big deal.
huge. Yeah, it's huge. People go to the house. I know we've talked about on the show before, and start throwing
Yeah.
pizzas on the roof.
Oh my
And
God,
Vince
I know.
Gilligan, bravo Vince, by the way, because he was really pissed off
You
that
should
people
be.
did that. He said
Yeah,
those people aren't fans. Those people aren't fans.
yeah,
And so anyway, um, it was also a funny reminder when Francesca was like, "Who's Saul Goodman?"
yeah.
when he was
Right.
kind of explaining that, is kind of a reminder on that, and that she already, like, we thought that she like got broken down and then started becoming her um,
Hmm.
manipulative negotiator. But turns out she was like that from the beginning. She was already like sick of them, and she only liked Kim.
Right. I don't blame her.
She was like, "Where's Kim?" And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, "Come on, where's Kim?"
Right. Well, what you're getting at too is, yeah, she kind of shook down Walt on that last moment when he came in. I don't want to say she shook down Jimmy there, but she definitely
She did shake
got
down Jimmy.
she got double her salary. I mean, she was going to walk. She did that classic like I'm walking off the car dealership lot, and then wait. Okay, come back. Let's figure this out.
What's her problem with Jimmy at this point?
I think maybe the way she was let go the first time, and
He was
I
always
mean,
nice to her, at least as far as I can remember.
yeah, and he was doing the elder law when he was with her last time, and now that like lineup of people out in front of his office, it's so funny how the odd folks they gathered for that.
So Kim sits down with somebody. I didn't remember this character at all. Her assistant from Schweikert
Oh,
and
yeah,
Coakley,
yeah.
and they're just having a conversation. And you're like, "Oh, she's having a nice conversation with somebody," and she goes, "Oh, I actually have Sandpiper now."
Oh, you don't say.
Oh my god, that is good for
What
you.
in the what'd you say?
But
Dilly pickles. Pickle
yeah,
my
what a
dills, or whatever
dilly
you
of a
said.
pickle that
Oh, dilly of a
we're in.
pickle there. Yeah.
Um, but we also get this, like, the fact that this woman has admiration for him. So it is definitely notable about the way that the community looks at Jimmy and the way the community looks at Kim. It's making that very clear when they're kind of
Hmm.
showing the differences between them. And um, to see like this woman was inspired by what Kim had done. And it
Yeah.
doesn't, I don't know if it's if you guys agree, but I don't think it really showed her being affected by it the way it seemed like she was affected by Cliff Maine in the last episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kim is tricking her into getting information, which is very underhanded, when meanwhile the woman is saying how much she admires her, how great she is, and Kim is conning her, which I mean, every episode it gets Kim's getting deeper and deeper into this. Like I think a couple seasons ago, Kim never would have lied to a colleague to get information like this. But here she is.
But after that, then we knew the con is on.
She broke bad right there.
I feel like the con is on was like the tagline to like 40% of
or
movies in
Con
the
Air or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
in 40% of movies in the 90s just had the tagline "The con is on."
Yeah. Probably
Maybe,
starring Bruce Willis or
yeah,
something.
yeah, absolutely, 100%,
Yeah.
100% of movies actually. Now that I think about it,
Hmm.
um, so yeah, and we can just comment quickly on how we already kind of talked about it, but Kim says, um, when he's sitting there saying, "I wish that Howard didn't suck me into his. I didn't let him suck me into his game," and
Hmm.
Kim said the reason that he did that because you know what's coming next. So
Yeah.
somehow, I guess that's going to be sweeter knowing what's
Sweeter.
coming next.
Or it's gonna be worse. I mean, yeah, what's gonna happen to Howard's gonna be awful. What's coming next?
Yeah, and Howard is well aware that they're doing it, but I guess they're banking on the fact that Howard's credibility will be so damaged. That's the whole purpose, that nobody's going to believe what he says about them.
Yeah.
He should have had
Yeah.
a private eye already.
Where do you meet these private eyes? I want to get a private eye and have them tail somebody.
Just websites.
The dark web. I feel like, you know, I want to get a private eye and have them tail you and
That
get a
would
full
that would be
rundown.
great
Oh,
for the podcast. That would be some good content.
yeah. I want a
Um,
manila envelope of black and white photos of you going to work, going to the grocery store.
I'm googling private investigator San Diego.
Great. Sign me
Several
up.
websites. Several
I want to start a
websites.
GoFundMe for that where we can get like 10 grand so I can give to
Damn,
a
I never
guy.
actually thought about the fact that somebody actually would hire a private eye. It's such a movie TV thing for me. There's all these websites. But I never even considered this.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it has to be expensive, right? Very expensive.
Yeah, probably. I bet it's like 5 grand for like a week or two of someone's life.
Hey, guys, if we're gonna start a GoFundMe, get a private eye on Dan, and we will
Yeah.
get the lowdown, we'll get the dirt, we will get
What do you
pics.
want? I'll
We
tell
will get
you.
pics. So we're gonna start a GoFundMe. If you guys are interested, make sure to write in to @BetterTalkSaul, email us at BetterTalkSaul@gmail.com. And all we need to get is 5 grand together, and we will get the lowdown of Dan. And we're gonna find out what is Dan hiding. Use
Yeah,
that
nothing.
hashtag what is Dan hiding to make sure
Yeah.
to tweet about it in your
Don't start a GoFundMe. I'll start an OnlyFans if people want pictures of me. You don't have to have
um,
a private investigator do that.
yeah. Well, yeah, it would. We might need
My
you to start
feet.
an OnlyFans to help pay for your own private investigator anyway. But we see, I'm also kind of thirsty for
Yeah, go on.
thirsty for
Don't say
more
liquid
Mike.
death.
I'm
Okay.
thirsty for more Mike because I'm treating Mike like it's liquid death. Shout out to liquid death.
Yeah. No, I was. I'm ready for some more Mike action too. Seeing him pop out of the trunk was pretty funny. But yeah, I'm ready for some Mike shenanigans for sure. I'm
Yeah.
ready for him to like build something or decompress something.
Mike is driven to that residence in the back after conversing with Arthur, is the guy's name. He finds Gus obsessively scrubbing his wall tiles with a toothbrush in the bathroom. Dude, what a
That was weird. That was some
twisted
serial
fuck.
killer
Yeah, he's
behavior right
twisted,
there.
dude. He's twisted.
Yeah.
Mike explains to Gus that they are now in a waiting game, telling him that wherever he is now, Lalo will come to Gus's home sooner or later. Realizing something, Gus says Lalo can't strike yet. He instructs Mike to tell his men that they'll be going out. They climb down the excavation beneath the laundromat, which has been
Yeah.
abandoned since the death of Werner Ziegler.
Mm-hmm.
Michael. Oh, Michael.
Michael.
Mike assumes that Gus is considering using the excavation as a potential hiding spot. After Mike is excused upstairs, Gus is left alone to survey the excavation. He picks up and examines a power cable, then plants his handgun in the caterpillar treads of an excavator. Seemingly
Yeah.
satisfied with the plan he's come up with, which who the fuck knows, Gus climbs out of the excavation site and shuts off the lights.
Yeah.
And now, okay, because we're about to get some meat and potatoes, my friends. We're about to get some meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
If meat and potatoes were a beautiful German woman.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were gonna talk more about this scene, but I just keep thinking, but yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about
No. What were
Marguerite.
you gonna say?
No, I have nothing else to add to that scene other than like anything. They show a gun. Of course, it's going to be used. Like this gun is definitely going to come back into play. And
It's
you
almost
said
like you would
something.
call it Chekhov's gun.
I've
They
never heard of that. Sorry. But if you, you said something interesting that I wasn't thinking of that I didn't pick up on that. If Gus is going to bunker down in here, um,
he's gonna need
I
some Sunny D, or he's gonna
yeah.
need some liquid deaths.
Well, that's too close to your other plug, man. You got to spread that one out. They don't deserve that many. I don't know, man. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Like Lalo with a gun to his head, it's going to be like, show me, show me, show me the place. And they're going to go down there and he'll just somehow pull a gun out. Like Gus is calculating and crazy, but he's not a superhero. Like I can't imagine him like going down there, grabbing the gun, doing some cool move. That's just not Gus for me. So we'll see.
By the way, Chekhov's gun is a dramatic principle that states
I
that
know
every
what it
element of a
is.
story should be necessary and irrelevant elements should be removed. So if you're going to
Well,
show a scene like that, like a gun being put
right.
somewhere, it needs to be for a purpose. And if it isn't, you should remove it. And that's often how film and TV. That's why we often, when we're breaking it down, we're like, why did it show that? It didn't show that for no reason. They don't just do that. And when you're a kid, when you're watching things, you're like think that things are for no reason, but
Yeah.
everything's for a reason.
Especially
Everything is for
guns.
a feeling or a way you're supposed to understand the character, to inform you
Yeah.
on the characters, show their motivations. Even if you can't figure out what it is, which happens all the time.
Right.
There's nothing you would be able to watch 100% of the scenes on and be able to say 100%, except for the movie The Room with Tommy Wiseau. That you can definitely dissect because the man's a fucking genius. All right,
I've never seen
so
them.
at a pub in Berlin, a middle-aged German woman. Did you call that this was her immediately?
I don't remember. Maybe. I think so. I'm trying to remember.
Uh,
Did you?
Samurai Zilla in the chat. Great question that you commented on earlier. You had some.
I read. Yeah, I read that they did. They actually shot the Germany scenes in
You're gonna
Albuquerque.
read the question. Since
His question is, do you think they actually filmed the German woman scene in Germany, or did they use CGI?
I don't think
I
he
think
used
they.
that inflection in his voice when he typed that. So
Well, I made it better. I bet you they did some CGI maybe on the exterior shots, but yeah, the internal one they just the props people did a great job. They said.
you saw that somewhere. You said
Yeah, I read it when I was doing some research for this
you read it
episode.
on
No, I didn't
Reddit.
read it on Reddit. I read it on Variety.
Hmm. Shout out to Variety. Shout out
Shout
to
out to
Karen
Karen.
Peterson in
No,
the
I don't. I
chat.
know.
Use promo code BetterTalkSaul
Karen.
for free readings
Yeah,
of Karen Peterson's articles
yeah.
on Variety.com. I might find out that they're on behind a paywall, and then that's not true.
I know. Yeah, probably.
Then all of a sudden we get a
Hold on, real
nice.
quick. How does Lalo travel internationally? Did they ever explain that? Does he have a passport? Where's he
I
getting
would
money
say by
from?
air or by sea.
Great, totally. I don't think he teleported, but I do think, and I don't want to be too nitpicky on that, but he's supposed to be dead.
Quick answer: fake identity. Done.
But from who? Like he's like on the underground right now. Like he's got no money.
Why do you say he
Um,
has no money? I think it seemed like he had an escape plan, like a plan for all of this.
yeah, you're probably
And I
right.
think he had
You're
a
probably right.
bag of money that he got. I would just say it's fake identity.
Yeah, you're right.
Just got tickets.
You're right.
Um,
And you know what? I was really like a lot of people. I'm like, wait a second, how the hell does he know where this woman lives? And he found that out when he killed that travel agent kid, I think, or maybe not that scene. He found a wire transfer or something. You remember this scene? Because apparently Lalo found a wire transfer that had Werner's name on it and Marguerite's, and that's
Michael.
how he knew their address and how he found her. Which
Yes,
I
something
felt
like
like
that.
was a slight stretch that he was like, you know what? I've got to find out that he's making drugs, that
Yeah,
he's
but I
making a
bet
super
if we
lab.
rewatch the exact final episode of season 4, we would see the exact line that was said. I don't happen to remember it right off the bat.
Right.
But
Yeah.
let's talk about the more important things. He is interacting. We see Lalo interacting with the total smoke show.
Yeah.
Most beautiful woman on the show now, besides Ray Seahorn. This actress's name is Andrea Such. She's actually Hungarian.
Yeah.
She is in John Wick 3 and the show
Okay.
Claws with
Great.
what's his name who plays Hank in Breaking Bad?
Dean
Dean Norris. Yeah,
Oh,
he's
wow.
in that show. He's one of the main characters. Quickly scrolling through here, very quickly to see an episode of The Shield and All My Children. So she has actually a bunch of things, but it's all small roles. But I'll tell you one thing: we'll never forget her again.
I agree. I still think Betsy is still my number one gal on the show for
shout outs to Betsy Kettleman. Definitely shout out to her for sure. I mean, I'm not gonna. We're gonna have a whole episode where we rank the women.
No, we're not. What about Lalo?
Where do you put Aaron on that list?
Hi, listen, Lalo. Let's talk the charisma coming off that guy.
Oh, yeah.
If he wasn't a mafia cartel bastard, he could have a talk show. He's incredible.
He's wasting his time murdering and pillaging. He should just be out there like the guys in the movie Swingers and just laying waste to the town. If you know what I mean.
He should take over for James Corden and do the Late Show with Lalo. Like I would watch the hell out of that.
Do you think that would be a smart career choice for him? And James Corden was at this time. It was not James Corden, I believe. At the time, it was
probably Craig Kilborn or something.
Craig Kilborn, yeah. That would be him that he'd be replacing. Maybe Tom Snyder was still there. Tom Snyder?
It probably was Tom Snyder.
Yeah. So now that we think about it, I think that we've kind of solved that problem. But it is she immediately starts talking, and the second you see him, you go, oh man, he's not letting that go. Because for us is ever since he got arrested last season, it almost seemed like he had let the Werner thing go.
Right, he kind of tried to move on, especially after Kim really dressed him down. I was like, buddy, nothing's going on. Just chill out. Shut up.
But yeah, he hadn't let it go, and he was going back to where he left off.
Right.
And remember, I had said that he had not been in the show since the first episode. And what a return! What a return! I mean, he did not have a ton of screen time, but he made a huge impact. I was on the edge of my seat. And by the way, Marguerite, big fan.
I was so worried. I knew he wasn't going to kill her, but that scene was still intense. It's like, oh my God, like classic TV show moment. Oh, I have to go back to my house while the person who just broke in was in there. And oh, there's a dog. Like every beat was suspenseful. And then he jumped out the window, which is fine. I mean, this is Lalo.
You really just wanted to plow right through that scene as quickly as possible, didn't you?
Oh, to talk about?
Yeah, we have to some panache.
If there's anything else that you want to talk about, please.
Samurai Zilla in the chat brought up a really good point. Whose mustache is better, Lalo's or mine?
I mean, I'll say yours because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
That would really hurt my feelings if you said
you should grow the flavor saver soul.
You love soul patches. You're a big fan of soul patches,
no.
Guys. If you join in on the chat or you join in on the live stream on YouTube, you'll be able to see this beautiful mustache. If you just listen to the audio, you don't get the mustache, and that's an important part.
Yeah, no, Dylan's mustache is like the third member of the Beatles.
In the chat, they're like literally continuing on about the episode where we parted ways from it. But yeah, first of all, I thought the dog was going to get killed. Then I thought for sure Marguerite was going to get killed. It would actually probably, if he killed the dog, that would have made him have to kill Marguerite. And killing Marguerite, I think, would have alerted Mike and Gus to his whereabouts or what he's up to. And now they don't. Now he stole that little that's not a ruler, it's slide rule.
Some sort of ruling measurement device.
And see where that is from his work. And so I'm assuming he's going to go to his work and investigate, or the company that has been tasked with enshrining
I think that's what it'll
in
be.
The acrylic.
They showed the tag on the bottom of it a couple times Chekhov's tag. So I'm sure he's going to go there.
You can learn, Dan, and I'm really impressed by that.
And yeah, I'm sure it's going to go there, shake him down. This is my prediction.
Is he going to murder more people?
Maybe he's not going to murder
more people. He's not done murdering. But
no,
I also have to say that I do think it's interesting that he almost got her to sleep with him.
Yeah.
And I think he realized it would be better anyway for his goal to not sleep with her and then just wait until she leaves.
Right. It'd leave less of an impression because I guarantee you he's an incredible lover and he probably would have absolutely rocked her world.
You know what he is? He's a passionate man. So that would definitely come out in the bedroom. And if you in the chat chime in on what you think on a scale of 1 to 10, what Lalo would be like in that situation.
Right. I believe they call that big dick energy, and Lalo is just exploding with it.
So anyway, and then like I said, she leaves to go to work. He immediately is like do. And the dog is Sweet. And you already knew the dog's name.
Yeah, that was helpful. You didn't have to give it peanut butter or some other TV trope.
And when he was putting the silencer on, I was like, no.
Yeah.
If I have to say, if he killed her, I would be really sad. Literally, I would be sad this whole podcast.
No, there's no way he was going to kill her, I thought, too, because Werner already died, which was, like, heartbreaking. And for his wife to die for kind of no good reason.
When you think you have the show figured out, Dan, that's when they get you. And I think you got it figured out, but guess what? You don't know. You don't know Jack.
No, I don't. And maybe she comes back and as a lawyer. I don't know.
What do you say we get into the segments, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get to our first one, which is the funniest moment of the week.
Hey, that's the funniest moment of the week.
All right, Dan, you want to take this one away?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm so mad at myself. I made a note that I wanted to talk about something, and I forgot. And is it too late to bring it up now?
No, bring it up now.
I read Bob Odenkirk's book, and I can't recommend it wholeheartedly, which kind of breaks my heart to say. It was kind of boring. And unless
you read the whole thing, so it couldn't have been that boring.
I read the entire thing. I actually listened to it. And Bob Odenkirk reads it. And if you're a fan of his and of like Mr. Show more than anything, then read it because it's really, really good about that. And then the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul part is interesting too.
What about SNL?
In SNL. He was a writer on SNL, and it's really cool to hear him talk about Chris Farley and Robert Smigel. But it's not funny. He doesn't really share a lot of good stories. It's just a very one-to-one retelling of his life. And it was okay. And it was, like I said, it kind of broke my heart to say it was just kind of okay. But 2 tidbits that I thought are worth sharing about the show. And the one that's most interesting is he was asked to be on Breaking Bad and said no. He, at the time, I think he'd had some home problems and money troubles, and he wanted to be around his kids. And he said, no, I don't want to do it. And it was his kids who kind of convinced him, like, Dad, we're fine. Do the show. It's all good. And
it's all good.
It's all good. So of course he did. And when he went in there, he was at the time, he was also starring on How I Met Your Mother, which I never watched.
I didn't know he was on that.
Yeah, I guess he had a very reoccurring role on How I Met Your Mother.
As a lawyer?
So I don't know. I didn't do that research. I'm sorry. But he was supposed to be on Breaking Bad for 4 days, let's say. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm only doing 3 because I'm on How I Met Your Mother. So in like a pinch, Vince was like, shit, I need to have another day. I need to come up with another henchman. And he came up with Mike. And so Mike wouldn't even exist. Yeah, Mike wouldn't exist if Bob Odenkirk hadn't been committed to How I Met Your Mother, which I thought was pretty interesting.
You really think Lalo's mustache is better than mine?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yours is big, and
Okay,
you
thank
twirl
you.
it on the podcast too, quite a
I
bit,
can't help it. I
like an
can't help
old
it.
timey villain. I know
I
it's
can't,
hard not
I
to. When I
can't
had a
help it,
beard, I
man.
touched
I
it all the
cannot
time.
help it. All right,
It's hard.
second takeaway.
He talked about Michael Mando a lot. Huge fan of his, and he also had this nice anecdote where when they offered him Better Call Saul, he was going to say no because he didn't think he could do it, and he sat down with Bryan Cranston, and Bryan Cranston kind of convinced him to do it too, and was basically like, "Look, man, you got this. Just fake it. You'll figure it out." And he said, "Okay," and then he did, and here we are.
It's
So
not a classic anecdote, is it?
no, I kind of forgot it. I read it like a month ago, and so that's all I got.
Well, let's get into the first one. It's the funniest moment of the.
Hey, that's the funniest moment of the week.
You want to go first,
boy.
Dan?
Yeah, I didn't laugh a lot in this episode, but I did laugh at the boxing match was funny. Like
Yeah,
I
it
felt
was
like
almost
that.
shot humorously.
Yeah, it had that feeling to it. It was still shot really cool, and
It wasn't like the Antonio Banderas and Woody Harrelson movie Bad to the Bone.
I did not see that.
It wasn't like that movie, which really shows a raw performance of boxing.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it.
Aaron, for me, would be the funniest moment of the week, but not a lot of funny in this
Yeah.
one at all. So
Yeah.
let's move on to the best line of the week.
Best line of the week.
I liked Marguerite saying maybe another life because it said so much with so little, and that mixed with their longing gaze kind of showed the trauma she's going through. That
Yeah.
even as a man with as a mustache almost as good as mine,
Almost.
that she would not jump right into bed with him because she was just like, I can't. She was like, I'm lying. I can. I don't work. She said she's lying that she does have work, but she did leave the next day.
Yes.
So now that I think about that, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, no, maybe that's not what she was lying about, that she had work. She was probably like, no, I can stay up and still have a productive day at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she left her keys, or no, she left her phone.
She left her phone. Yeah.
Did they have phones in 2005?
Yeah, not smartish phones though, right? Or if they were,
They had the
not.
Trio, BlackBerry.
Yeah, or the maybe T-Mobile's little
Sidekick.
Not T-Mobile. No, the what's T-Mobile? It was that little brick. Nokia, the Nokia like thing.
Yeah,
I
the
struggled
9800.
with my favorite line, and the one I kept going back to was the scene. And this is actually kind of a funny scene too, when Gus was taking that guy's order, and the way Gus's face changed when he's like, "May I suggest a signature Spice Girls?"
I
And he
wanted
had
to
this
say that as a
huge-
joke, and I like that you actually picked that not as a joke.
Yeah, and he like had a
It was a
Cheshire
memorable
cat.
scene. It was a memorable scene.
Yes, yeah, it got me, and so when I try to think of these things, I think in my head at first, like, what was it? And that one kept coming back to me, and so I wrote that one down as my favorite line.
Let's go to the next one. Worst decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst decision of the week.
I hate that I have to interrupt it quickly and we can't just let it fade away because we're muted when those play. And I don't know why they do that. I don't get why that's a requirement. Why we should be able to change that. But what was your worst decision of the week?
I still think Kim not telling Jimmy about
Waldo?
Yeah, is a bad decision. I mean, maybe it was Jimmy. He should have left the boxing match. There's not going to be a big ramification to that. But I just keep going back to this is going to be a huge breach of trust between the two of them, and they could work on it together. They could share the anxiety together, and now she's burdening this unnecessarily alone. What's yours?
Yeah.
Struggled.
I think that, well, I was just gonna say Jimmy letting Howard sucker him or get him into that, But I don't know how that's going to pay off or what that's going to be, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
Lalo not going in for a kiss. Think he probably should have tried, but she said no, and consent is an important thing, so no, that's not it either. So I am going to say, I'm going to go with the Jimmy. The Jimmy
Sure.
letting
There
Howard
are no wrong answers here, buddy.
going in for the kiss would have been a wrong answer, though.
Yeah, that would have been a bad one.
Let's do the next one. It's the prediction of the week.
The prediction of the week.
Prediction of the week. I already said it, but I'm just going to use that again because why not? I think that Jimmy is going to leave the show thinking that Lalo's still alive, and that's not for sure because he could say Lalo sent you before Lalo died, so that's possible. But I think Jimmy's going to have, especially if she goes, Kim, offers to go work for him. And Jimmy doesn't know why. That's a possibility. Like
totally.
Great friend of the show, Karen Peterson, published author on Variety.com, had predicted last week. So I think it's still possible.
Yeah, I love that prediction. I have a simpler prediction, and it's about the ruler that Lalo is going to use it. He's going to see where it was made, probably in New Mexico. Or maybe in Germany, and maybe while he's there, it's going to lead to him meeting Kai, I'm guessing, because he was like that mouthy boy guy, and we're going to see some
the mouthy boy guy.
Yeah, he was the one on the crew who was kind of like a pain in the ass, and we're going to have a fun Lalo scene of him like torturing him maybe to get information about where it is. And
I'll say this, Dan is an articulate man.
Yeah, thank you.
But this is it. You've hit the nail on the head. He's going to go there, find out who sent that in to get it put into acrylic. And from there, he's going to find out Kai sent it. He's going to go and he's going to pull out Kai's toenails and fingernails individually.
Right.
And we're not going to see Kai get his comeuppance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's going to get the shit kicked out of him, and
he's going to get his shit pushed in, as the kids say.
Is dick pushed in, not his shit, right? Or is it his
shit
dick?
Pushed in? It means your ass kicked. Your shit pushed in.
Oh, I like that. Huh. Yeah.
No. You like that? You don't like that happening though.
No, not on myself. No.
Shout out to the question about Barry season 3 in the chat. I just rewatched and just finished season 2, so I'm caught up, and I'm going to start watching season 3 of it. I highly recommend Barry. If you're not watching Barry, if you like Breaking Bad, you're watching Barry, you're crazy. It is perfect, but you need to rewatch the first 2 seasons. You're going to be very lost if you don't rewatch it because I had forgotten a lot of stuff.
I'm very lost. Yeah, but I am watching season 3 of Barry and enjoying it quite a bit.
Why don't you tell people where they can follow you in real life?
You got to hire a private investigator if you want to follow me in real life and get some snapshots of me in my polka dot underwear.
We'll try to get a promo code for a private investigator for future episodes.
So I would like that.
We'll work on that as an additional sponsor to the many, many sponsors that we have.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Dan the Beast, or you can follow me on TikTok at What's in Dan's Wrap, where I wrap up weird food and try to be funny on there.
He puts like Skittles in with short ribs.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then he puts garlic salt on them, and then puts some cream cheese in there, and then he wraps it in spinach.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be weird and eat weird food.
He makes it. There's a lot of ones that he did that were very like that sounds good. That makes sense. You put some potato salad in with with that.
And it takes a turn.
Carne asada, but then he'll put like Frosted Flakes in there. Well, Frosted Flakes actually works for a lot of things.
Cereal is great. But people sleep on using cereal.
He puts Lucky Charms in there also. That's where you lose me. For me, you can follow me at the Dylan Schuck. That is SCHUCK, and it's DYLAN, not STER. For the show, follow us at BetterTalkSaul. Follow us there so you can see when we're going to go live next week.
Yeah.
Email us at bettertalksaul@gmail.com. Tell us your thoughts on the episodes. We'll read most of them on the air.
Yeah.
We're willing to.
Please.
And we only got 2 episodes left for a little bit of a break. We had a 6-week break.
Yeah.
And then we got the final episode. So we're trucking right along, aren't we, Dan Fields?
We really are. And I was looking forward to our break, but maybe we should do a show or two about, I don't know, something in the middle. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about it off air. Maybe we can see if we can come
when
up with
Barry
something.
season 3 ends, we'll do an episode on the whole season.
On Barry? On
Yeah.
Body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Batty. Anyway, that's it. I'm Dylan Schuck.
Now I'm Dan Fields.
And we'll see you next week.